Hello music fans, this is the second video in my series where I'm talking about turning double LPs into single LPs to kind of trim the fat off of them and make them into more consistent, high quality albums. The first one I started with was the Beatles' White Album, which is a great album even how it is, but I condensed it into something that I think would be amazing. And now I'm going to do The Wall by Pink Floyd, which is another great album already. But I think there's fat that can be trimmed, and we can turn it into a really awesome single LP. And I realize this one's a concept album, so in order to make this work, I have to eliminate the need for that story-like narrative and just focus on what songs have the best music and which are the best songs to pick for a listening experience. So I'm just going to run through and talk about the songs that I'm going to keep on the album, and I'm going to leave them in the order that they're in on the actual album instead of trying to resequence them. So the first one I'm going to keep is Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. That's going to open up the album, and that's just an iconic song that everyone knows from this album. It has that disco drum beat. There's the children's choir, great guitar solo, funky rhythm guitar, lead vocals by both Waters and Gilmour. And yeah, I just think that'd be a good one to kick it off, and everyone would know it and kind of get into it. And then after that, it'll go into Goodbye Blue Sky, which is just a nice acoustic finger-picking song with great vocal harmonies, catchy melody, lead vocals by Gilmour. And the third song on this condensed version of The Wall would be Young Lust, which is written by both Waters and Gilmour, lead vocals by Gilmour. It's kind of more of the kind of sexier song on the album. Ooh, I need a dirty woman. Ooh, I need a dirty girl. So that will kind of have that part of their sound covered. They don't usually go into that territory, but it's interesting that they do on that song. Then it will go into Hey You, one of the best songs on the album. Nice arpeggiated intro, one of the most epic sounding songs on the album. Really catchy vocals, cool chord progression, great lead guitars, and a nice callback to the motif from Another Brick in the Wall. And lead vocals by both Gilmour and Waters on this one. Then after that, it goes into maybe one of their most iconic songs, Comfortably Numb. I think everyone has to love this song. There's two great guitar solos, great vocal melodies and harmonies, great string parts. It's written by Gilmour and Waters, lead vocals by both Gilmour and Waters as well. After Comfortably Numb, it'll go to In the Flesh, the one that doesn't have the question mark at the end, because there's a song on the album called In the Flesh question mark, and then there's another song just called In the Flesh without the question mark. I'm going to do a spoiler here and say like I cut In the Flesh with the question mark, but I'm keeping the In the Flesh without the question mark, which has a cool guitar riff, and I believe Dream Theater covered In the Flesh without the question mark on Change of Seasons. This one has lead vocals by Waters. Next it'll go into Run Like Hell by Gilmour and Waters. Nice guitar effects with the echo, nice synthesizer solo, lead vocals by both Waters and Gilmour. And then Waiting for the Worms would be the next song, which brings back the Another Brick in the Wall theme again, and has vocals by both Waters and Gilmour. And then the last song on the album would be The Trial, which is written by Waters and Bob Ezrin, and it's kind of like a Broadway musical song. It kind of reminds me of the song from the Producers musical where they say, where they go, unhappy, very, 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 very unhappy. But in this song it goes, crazy, toys in the attic, I'm crazy. Just kind of a dark, sad, twisted Broadway musical song, and that would end the album, kind of be the weirdest weirdest one that I kept. So what songs did I cut to make this condensed version? It was kind of a tricky exercise, but I think I've made a good solid 40-minute album here. I cut In the Flesh with a question mark, which is a good song, but I just had to cut something. I cut Mother, the acoustic ballad, also a good song. I cut Don't Leave Me Now, which is kind of a really unique and evil, dark sounding song that's more keyboard driven and more ominous, so I would have loved to have kept that as well, but I wanted to keep this album short and concise and solid. I cut The Show Must Go On, which is a short song that gives me some Beatles vibes. I cut Is There Anybody Out There, which has some menacing vocals over some ambient soundscapes. That's the first half, followed by that nice arpeggiated acoustic guitar for the second half. I cut Another Brick in the Wall Part 1 and 3. I feel like Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 kind of covers those and is the part that everyone goes back to, and we don't really need those two. A bit redundant for the condensed version of the album. I cut Nobody Home, which is an emotional piano ballad with nice strings. I cut One of My Turns, The Happiest Days of Our Lives was cut. I cut The Thin Ice. I cut Empty Spaces. Good song, but nothing special really. Everything else from here in was pretty easy to cut. Like I cut Outside the Wall, just a short outro for the album. Nothing special there. I cut Bring the Boys Back Home. Again, just a short 1:20 song, nothing special. I cut Vera. Short 1.5 minutes, nothing special. I cut Goodbye Cruel World, a 1-minute-long song, short outro for the side, nothing special there. And I cut Stop, which is just a 30-second short song. So I cut a lot of those like short interlude type songs and just kind of kept the 9 meatiest songs to make a nice condensed version. Let me know if you were going to condense The Wall down to 1 LP, which songs would you leave on, which songs would you cut? And until next time, peace out.